What is going on, everybody? Bobby Fi and Eric Sheethaber. We're going to be talking through today's 11-game slate on DraftKings and FanDuel. Good night last night for me. Finally, the first win of the season. It's always nice to get. Won the giant, massive $3 thing. I thought I'd just mention real quick before we get into the slate and everything that what I've been doing is I'll use a combination of Sheets and Goldie's projections. If for any reason there are players in the lineup that are different, I'll default those particular players to the SaberSim projections. And then I am late swapping. I'm going to change the way I late swap depending on the day, because some days I actually wanted to let it go through the first few games because I am putting sort of my own thoughts. And yesterday I did have the Cubs as my highest owned stack, so that obviously helped. But I'll adjust for the stacks that I like as I go. But I tend to be adjusting after the 8-ish p.m. games, especially when there's the 4 or 5 night games where I'm heavily involved. But I'm using a combination of Goldie and Sheets' projections combined with SaberSim sometimes. And I think it's just a really good way to get different, even within the, even if I wasn't making any of my own personal tweaks. I think it's just a really good way to get different, even amongst other SaberSim users. So I do want to tell everybody, we have our trials, take a look at them. We have a $15.99 trial for the ultimate, $8.99 for the pro package. And, with the combination of that and the pay dirt stuff has been awesome, especially for the sports betting and everything. We've got a lot of really unique offerings. So I hope you guys to give us a chance and take a look at the site. With that said, Sheets, how are you doing today? And then we'll jump into this slate.
Did you do direct fill with the SaberSim with the bill for the mini max?
Yeah, I did direct fill. I'm not using the autofill very much. I'm still having a little bit of trouble when I try to. Things get a little jumbled, and I'd like to do my own hand builds for the high buy-ins and stuff, which obviously didn't pay off yesterday. But it did on FanDuel, where I cashed in 4 out of the 5 monster lineups I made.
Did you do any stack limitations, or just specifically the 150 max thing? Just nothing.
No, I don't. The lineup that won was a 5-2-1. I had some 4-4s and some 4-3-1s, but I wasn't trying to get to or avoid those situations at all. I am totally fine with having some of that, especially on slates that are less than 10 games. Today we obviously have more than 10. I think it's a little bit more stack friendly in general, but I'm still okay with getting to some 4-2s, some 4-3s, and on FanDuel actually I had a 3-3-2 that was the cash pretty deep in the monster. So I'm open to the other stacks, but I'm not trying to go out of my way to get them, and I'm not trying to go out of my way to avoid them either.
Which stack at the end of the day, specifically in the 150 max you won? Which stack do you have the most lineups
in? Did I have the most lineups? Was the Cubs.
Cubs, okay. And is that the one that you ended up winning with? Was the Cubs also? Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, the other Cubs stacks, if you didn't have the right pieces, and Carson Kelly being the biggest one, a lot of people played the Cubs but didn't play Carson Kelly. He was, I think, the lowest owned Cub, and of course he had the game of his life, the game of anyone's life actually last night. Hit for the cycle, which I didn't even think was possible for a guy like that.
Meanwhile, what would a season be without us being behind the 8 ball and Survivor right out of the gate?
Yeah. I mean, but that's the thing, we knew the Cubs matchup is tough, and then we got to deal with Justin Steele tonight. But hopefully they can get at least one of these next 2, and then you just get 2 against the Rockies, and then we're good to win.
And you know what? If it means you winning 10,000, having the Cubs slaughter, we'll take it.
Yeah, right. But look, the other thing that I was going to mention is that I do think, look, maybe it'll be overreactions to some people. Maybe they're. I mean, look, Ellie De La Cruz, of course, for the first night uses a torpedo bat last night and goes, 3 for 4 with 2 home runs and a double or whatever.
Love it.
These torpedo bats. So I made a list of all the players who are playing them. Some of the players not playing today, but all of the Yankees, or not all of the Yankees, but 5 of the Yankees or 4 of the Yankees, maybe it's 5 now, and Philly's about to start using them as well. So just keep an eye out for it. The torpedo bats and weather are things that I'm going to heavily weigh in.
Do they have to disclose if they're using the torpedo bats?
You could just see it.
They don't. No, you don't know before the game, right?
Right. I don't. So I don't know the brand new guys who will be using it.
I'll save you the trouble of asking. Everybody will be using it.
Everybody will be using them too. But Dansby Swanson and Nico Horner for the Cubs are using them. So they were sort of factored into some of the things that I was looking at. Look, and today I am going to put a minimum exposure on the guys who are using them for right now, and just make sure I'm getting some of them.
Do we have a list? I mean, do we have a list?
There's a list, but then again, it changes every day.
Right.
So I have a list of the 13 guys who were using them as of yesterday.
Well, that's it. There are only 13 guys.
This is the thing. It's a specialty made bet, but there's
Why should there be 500 guys now?
There's like another 100 on order. Well, they haven't made them all. They didn't know how this was going to go.
Oh, there's going to be like thousands of them ordered now.
Absolutely, all the Phillies keep doing it now. So
you watch it'll filter down to freaking cutthroat 9U leagues down in Massapequa, Long Island. It's
right. Yeah, so I for whatever reason I got up a little early today and I was looking through the slate, and it's kind of a tough to find a stack that you feel like awesome about. But the other thing I did is on my bets yesterday, and I'm just going to keep putting this out every day. My bets of the day just said bet all the overs. I think the overs went 9 and 4 or something like that yesterday. I'm big on the overs earlier this year. There's a lot more hitting. There's a lot more home runs being hit too. And it's not just with the bats. So just something to keep in mind. I do like the overs. I'm going to be betting more of them than I am anything else for baseball at the start of the season until they start adjusting, because I feel that they are too low in most cases.
So when you put your bets up, do you do any props, or it's just games and totals?
Occasionally I'll do props. I'm trying to diversify more into that. And I certainly am open to it. I just haven't figured it. I haven't mastered it yet. And there's so many people who are so good at it that I feel like I don't want to like post it as if it's like I know something.
No, but is Paydirt doing the prop?
Yeah, they've got all their things up there.
You should probably do what they do. I don't know.
It's worked well. I mean, look, we K9 made $9,300 off of a $25 bet. Yeah,
really?
Yeah, from them last week. So
that's so sick
in basketball. So yeah, I think that there's definitely a lot of merit to it. I mean, it's a really cool offering what we've got going, guys. So I really do hope you check it out. And again, if you've already signed up for the membership, you can still sign up again because we have added some different products. And with that said, we can jump into the slate.
Wait, hold on. I have to ask. I'm sure it's in the Discord like all over the place. But what did he put in for $25 to make 9,300?
I got to look back at it. I can't remember what it was.
It was like a 14-game parlay or something like that.
I don't remember exactly what it ended up being. It might have been a combination of the 2 days from the first 25. So I'm not really sure, to be honest.
Okay.
But we'll I'll take a look at some point. All right, so jumping into the slate, we've got look, like I said, it's not like there's these glaring crazy spots. I did want to highlight that Tampa Bay is obviously playing in a different stadium this year. They're not at the Trop anymore. Much better hitters park, and it is like sunny there right now. So just keep that in mind for what's going on. And I guess we'll use that game as a starting point. You can ignore these early exposures. I was playing around with some builds, so they're not going to necessarily be reflective of what I'm doing. But I do like I do think Shane Baz is, I want to say I like him. He's a guy I'm considering as a low-owned pitcher that I think has some upside, and not really getting too much in the way of stacks here, although I wouldn't say no to Tampa Bay especially. That's sort of where I'm at. It's interesting at first glance today, the actual over-unders versus SaberSim's over-unders are wildly different today, as much as I've ever seen for baseball. So we'll see if that evens out later today, but it is kind of interesting that SaberSim's got a very different look at these games than Vegas does right now. So not a ton of interest in the first game at the moment, but I'm open to the Tampa Bay idea especially.
I don't have any of the pitchers in my top group, like just to give you a little preview. On DraftKings, I have like 5 pitchers that kind of stand out over the others, and on FanDuel, I have 3. Mm-hmm. And it's weird with the stacks. My top stack on not exposure, just like kind of like who I would like with my projection and stuff, would actually be Tampa on FanDuel. I don't know what the pricing is. I guess it's got to be cheaper over there somehow. And but I'm not really getting to much of any of it on DraftKings. So there must be some discrepancy in the pricing somehow between some of the top Tampa guys. I just don't know what it is.
And this is one of those games where Pittsburgh in Vegas has Pittsburgh at a 3.9 total and Tampa at a 5.1, and SaberSim's got Pittsburgh at a 4.5 and Tampa at a 4.2. So that might be the reason why early on I'm not getting to as much Tampa as I thought I might be. And by the way, I will mention in this game, Junior Caminero is using the torpedo bat. He's one. What
team is he on?
He's on the Rays.
Okay.
And he's good too. All right, we can move over to your Arizona versus Yankees, because this is kind of an interesting 3-pronger, I think. What are your thoughts here, Sheets?
Well, first of all, I'm looking at the SaberSim totals here. His Yankees 3.8. I guess I would make my joke and say, what about the other 8 innings? 20,000 runs. But in the pitching, I see Will Warren against Corbin Burns.
Yeah.
I have Corbin Burns as like my 5th best pitcher on DraftKings. I don't have him on FanDuel all that much, but like Corbin Burns, remember, I forgot what it was. Oh, I remember what I wanted to tell you. Was it that he was really bad to start the season, really good? I think he was really bad to start the season. Like
he was never really anything. All of DFS has no idea of anything about Corbin Burns because he's not a high strikeout but he's an excellent pitcher. He's not a high strikeout guy, and everybody talks about how he sucks. But the reason they're complaining that he sucks is because he gave up 1 run in 6 innings and only had 3 strikeouts. You know what I mean?
I guess
that's who he is. I mean, he's still a very, very, very good pitcher.
So the reason I bring it up is this early game stuff, early season stuff. I mean, we certainly have to. I don't always have to talk about it, but you know, things could be coincidence, things might not be. But there's got to be something. This Martin Perez in April thing. You know what I mean? Like Martin Perez, he pitched a no-hitter yesterday through 6 innings. Right? Was it every year? He's like the best pitcher in baseball for April. I've never
seen May too. Usually April and May, and then he falls off.
Yeah, I've never seen anything like it in my life. But I don't know if I really want to play Burns against the Yankees. I will say that it's a little chilly out today there in New York. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I like I said, I don't want to say 3-prong. I think it's almost like a 0-prong, right? I wouldn't play Burns really against the Yankees, but as I like to say, Burns is, as you said, good real life pitcher, probably good enough to keep me off of the Yankees. I wouldn't play Will Warren. And I don't know about this weather for playing Arizona. So I don't know. I'm probably off of this game.
Yeah, I don't care that it's cold so much because it's the wind. It's 10 miles an hour, 10 miles an hour out to right field. Okay. Not a huge, but I would say it's like, if anything, it seems like it would be a little bit offsetting for 50-degree weather. And by the way, if you look at most of the games today, I mean, Tampa's 81, but most of the games are down in the same temperature range as New York, just with the way that it is right now this time of year. And it's even cold on the West Coast. So I'll be underweight Burns, but I'm not going to have no exposure because outside of one guy, it's not like I feel like there's like a really obvious other pitcher to use. So you can see I will be well above this Yankee exposure, including all the minimum 5 guys are the guys who have the torpedoes, which are Jazz, Goldschmidt, Bellinger, Volpe. But I am stacking the Yankees some against Burns. I don't love a ton of stacks today, and the Yankees have not given me reasons not to play them yet. I also think the Diamondbacks are like getting a little bit slept on here. Why are we afraid of Will Warren for what was the best offense in baseball last year? So I'm actually going to up my Diamondback stack exposure. I think this could be an interesting game. I know that I made it 5. I'll make it. I guess I'm getting 9% Diamondback stacks. It's not the worst thing in the world. But yeah, I think both of these stacks are kind of interesting. And as many other games, I like the over in this game. All right. Washington in Toronto.
Okay.
Go ahead, sorry.
Washington in Toronto, who are the pitchers? Pitchers look like Berrios and Trevor Williams. I'm not getting to either of those. At least my top options. As far as the hitting goes, again, it's a interesting, I would say dichotomy, whatever it is, but I have Washington as really, really good on DraftKings as far as values go. And yet on FanDuel, I'm not seeing any of it for Washington. But with Toronto, I'm seeing them as kind of playable on both sides. Not top plays on either side, but definitely in the mix. So for me, probably neither pitcher, but definitely both sets of bats.
So I feel like I hear that. I think for me, it's another 3-pronger. I do think that I bumped up Berrios' projection to closer to where Goldie had it, which I agree with. I think it's a little low. Washington, we know them as a team that doesn't strike out. Now, we don't know how that's going to translate because they have like 4 guys now who strike out a lot more than what league average should be, which they didn't have last year. So I actually think that there's some upside. And Berrios is not a great strikeout pitcher, but when I don't feel great about the pitching, taking a shot on a 2% owned pitcher. I think he'll be higher than that, but let's say he's 5, 6, 7%. I just think it makes some sense to get to Barrios at least a little bit. And I also think both stacks are in play, not like overwhelmingly, but I will have like, let me just see my team stacks right here, just so I can be honest. Right now, I've got Toronto, I've got 8%, and I've got Washington at 11%. So I'm interested a little bit in both the hitting and Barrios as a tournament dart, who, as you guys know, he's not a high strikeout guy, but again, like when I don't love a lot of the pitching and he's in the same price tier and sort of in a similar range, but he's going to be the lowest owned, I'll take a shot against Washington with him. All right. Minnesota and Chicago.
We talked about this, like those White Sox from last year. I stacked them every single day, pretty much. Yeah. And yesterday, you could have stacked them. They could have scored 9 runs, and it might not even have helped you. Right. I in this game do not have any of the pitching, and also, well, hitting wise, I do have the White Sox as a decent value. So, just again, what I'm kind of looking at here, DraftKings, I'm going to highlight 7 stacks. I already talked about Washington. I already talked about Toronto. I think that's Toronto. And the White Sox are one of them, actually. And actually, by the way, I do have Zona. I forgot to mention, I do have Arizona as one of my stacks. I didn't think I did, but I do have Zona here. But I do like the White Sox right back again. So me, White Sox, and none of the pitchers.
Yeah. There's no way I'm playing any hitting here. It's 40 degrees. There's 17-mile-an-hour winds blowing in from center. I actually just X'd out both lineups as stacks go. If I ended up with a one-off here and there, okay, fine. But I'm definitely not playing the hitting. There's no way you can get me to stack this. And we talk about how things are taken into account. I don't know that I agree that things are always taken into account enough. At least not in the first runs, because I mean that's some serious wind blowing in this game. You know, Saberson's got it at 8.6. Vegas has it at 7.5. I think Woods Richardson is a better play than the projections say, and I'm going to bump his projection up and try to get to some exposure there. Again, I don't feel great about the top end pitchers today outside of one, so I'm going to get some exposure to Whit Richardson by the time the day's done. And I actually think it's a pretty good play against the White Sox. Kansas City, Milwaukee. This may be, I guess I'll jump in first on this one. I don't know why I don't have more of this. I thought I actually programmed in a bigger percentage. I'm not sure what happened to it. What happened here? I like Milwaukee a lot, and I like Toronto. I like Kansas City as well. I think those are I guess I have 11 and 13%. But I think I might even go a little bit higher here. I really like the hitting in this game, and I like that it's in Milwaukee. It's a good hitter's park, especially for lefties. And I'm not interested in either of the pitchers. So Lorenzen is the kind of guy who always sort of like Trevor Williams for Washington today. Always frustrates me because they tend to have these weird outlier good games against when I want to stack against them. But I'm not going to let that decide everything for me. And I am going to be overweight the bats in this game by the time we're all is said and done.
Boy, this is a pretty. One of the things I like doing when I go through these game by games, I'm looking at all the players, seeing like all these new teams, all these guys are on. Even the Yankees. I mean, I had no idea that. I mean, Goldschmidt. No, who's on the Yankees? Did you say
Goldschmidt?
Goldschmidt is on the Yankees somehow.
Yeah.
I mean, as is, there's like some other guys that were on the Yankees that you mentioned. I didn't
Bellinger.
Yeah, Bellinger, Goldschmidt. I remember Jazzson last year, but that was I didn't know. And I'll tell you this, I don't know. Boy, I don't know if this is enough to put him over the top. I don't know. Did the Kansas City make the playoffs and lose? I forget. Yeah, they did, right? Yeah. I remember having them win the World Series. This Jonathan India is a good pickup. He's good.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that the Kansas City had him. They already had a good, pretty good lineup and a good fantasy lineup. You know, I always like playing them. You know, so.
Yeah, you got probably the best fantasy player in baseball in Bobby Witt.
Yeah, and not only that, you saw Bubic put up a freaking number yesterday, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you're going to have him along with, I guess, their other pitchers, I don't know what their rotation, if it's similar to last year's. Did they lose Reagans or no? No, so they still have Reagans. They still have who are the other guys I played all the time last year? The other thin guy. Who are the Kansas City pitchers?
Singer, you're thinking of.
Singer, but there was another guy who came from the Mets. Lugo, right?
Oh yeah, Lugo.
Lugo was pretty good, and then the guy we played the long reliever Marsh. You know, they got some guys. I don't know. This could be interesting. This team.
They have a good team. I agree, and they in that division I feel like is fairly open. It's just between them and Cleveland, really.
Yeah, so I don't know what the weather's like. I don't know what the weather's like in Milwaukee. I'm not really getting to it as far as projections go. But
it's indoors. It should be. If the roof's open, it's a good sign. But I don't think it will be. Is my guess.
Yeah, but you know, just eyeballing these guys. I mean, it looks like these guys I want to play. Like, of course, Miguel Garcia is now hitting 8th. Melendez, I guess that's why these guys are 3,300. They're getting 7th and 8th. Even Isbell can hit it a little bit. These guys are. This is a good team to target in general. And Perez, obviously, he's always really good. All right, interesting. I might join you in this Kansas City experience.
Yeah, I think that game is as far as games go, feels like the stackable game to me. All right, this is maybe a no-pronger for me. The Angels, St. Louis, cold weather in St. Louis right now. Let me just double check where the weather is. Where's my weather sheet? St. Louis is, it's actually 60 today. The wind's blowing in from right, but a little bit across the field, but it's 20 miles an hour. I think I'm pretty much going to be off this game. I got to a little bit of it in the first runs. I didn't cross it off, but I am not trying to go out of my way to play it here. If I did have interest, it would be more on the Cardinals side. You can make a case for the Angels, but I personally am going to try to be lower. I think that Saberson wants you to play the Angels a little bit, but I don't know that I want to.
Yeah, for me, again, just eyeballing the projections and the value stuff. I have the Cardinals rated 3rd, but as you mentioned, I mean, the wind is a little bit fishy. Team's a little bit fishy, you know. Although, I mean, he's hanging around. But there's going to be a time where Kyle Hendricks can't pitch anymore. It might have passed it. And we've seen some crooked numbers so far this season in general, you know. So I don't know. I do have the Cardinals listed as a decent play, and definitely none of the pitchers. So I'm getting like a half a pronger sort of.
Yeah, and for whatever reason, Hendricks has always pitched really well against St. Louis. I don't really know why, but just thought I would mention it. All right, San Francisco in Houston. We've got after a very, very bad opening start, Logan Webb and Hayden Wesneski, who I think actually might have a little bit of upside and might be a little bit underprojected by SaberSim here. But I think I'd be more interested in the Giants bats than anything from this game, but nothing that's really standing out for me right now. I'm not sure if Houston's going to be that good anymore.
Yeah. Logan Webb is not is kind of my enemy. He has not performed in the most high leverage of spots for me. So he's kind of my enemy, but pitching wise, so not much. I have San Francisco on FanDuel rated 3rd, and they did okay yesterday. They put up some runs, not enough to compete for some of these other numbers, but they did okay. And Logan Webb, I don't think I'm going to do it. So for me, it's going to be some San Francisco, and that's probably it.
Yeah, and you got Anthony in the chat here saying San Francisco lefties. The problem is the lefties tend to get platooned based on last year, and their best hitters are all righties. That's my little bit what I struggle, because I don't mind that idea. I'm kidding, and I'm curious to see how good Houston is. We'll see as the season goes on. I mean, there's still some talent there, obviously, but it does feel like they're kind of depleted compared to where they were at one point. And they don't cheat anymore, so at least I don't think they do.
So Detroit, Seattle, how do we like that the good park in Seattle yesterday?
Well, I didn't say it's a good. I never said it was a good park.
No, I did.
I just said it's obviously the second worst hitters park in baseball, but it's
15 runs.
it's just the yeah, no, but it is it is, there's what we talked, as we've talked about, like you're later in the season, it's a big park downgrade to be playing in Seattle. This time of the year when it's cold and winds blowing in places and all this stuff, it's there's no difference in Seattle. So
not only that, but big hitters in Seattle. Remember, Seattle Mariners are my heroes, and as much as I thought Detroit, that pitcher had, he was regarded as a young stud. That also means he's young. And
right.
And those guys are always pretty volatile. So Seattle, I don't know if that won. I mean, that was pretty close to winning for somebody. I think they were all like hyper low owned, like all those Seattle guys that got.
Yeah, I had some of that.
Yeah.
On FanDuel, it got me all my cash lines because I had a bunch of I had three of like three mans in my 5 monster lineup. So
yeah. So the reality is that Logan Gilbert is the number one pitcher on the slate on both sites, both on DraftKings and on FanDuel, and it's I don't say it's a large margin. It's a large enough margin, where he's definitely the number one option as far as I'm concerned. Casey Mize, I always want Casey Mize to be good. I do. He hasn't quite done it for me though. So he's not gonna get into the lineups, I don't think. Again, maybe we should just go right back to the Seattle experience, but definitely Logan Gilbert, and that's pretty much what I got here.
I have some interest in the Seattle stuff.
Yeah, there it is.
And I actually the thing that worries me a little bit here is that, as I mentioned, and as we talked about it, I think Detroit's a good baseball team.
Yep.
So that's my one worry of having 1,000,000% Logan Gilbert. However, he still just makes the most sense to me of everybody on the slate. And that is probably where, he's going to be my highest owned pitcher. That's pretty sure. But I think Seattle, I'm going to get to a pretty decent amount today against Mize. And again, it's not ideal. There's not that those glaring stacks you have to get to. We'll talk about some potential in a minute, but I think it's worth taking some stabs at Seattle for sure. They're going to be low owned and they're cheap, and definitely have enough power to get there. They're frustrating because they strike out a lot and they don't walk as much as you'd like them to, but there's enough decent hitters in that lineup that I think that they're worthwhile tonight. All right, San Diego is a little bit weird. It's crosswinds right now, but it's 60 degrees, so it's not quite as cold as, it's cold for San Diego, but it's not quite as cold as it has been. And again, I'm letting the weather dictate a little bit of what I want to do. Oh, no, sorry, it's 55, but the winds are howling, but they're blowing sort of across the field at the moment. And all this to say, I think Michael King is totally in play, and I would not mind getting to San Diego. Why I got so much Cleveland on my first runs and why they kept trying to force Cleveland in for me feels like either an overreaction to Michael King or just trying to get different enough. I know he had a terrible outing his first start against the team that's been the worst offense in baseball so far, but I still think he's got good stuff and he'll be able to locate his pitches better. I don't think that's going to be a long-term thing. So I'm not as interested in Cleveland as they're going to want to give it to me, which they did yesterday too, and I wasn't letting them. So shout out to the sim to all the projections for being awesome. At the same time, sometimes you want to take a stand and just say, I don't want to play all the Cleveland. And last night it was the reason I ended up winning probably. But tonight I think a little bit of interest in San Diego, a little bit of interest in King for me. That's pretty much where I'm at.
Yeah, I think I'll even go a step further. I think King is just one of three like ultra logical pitchers. Like there are 5 of them really, but like 2 of them are against like incredible hitting teams.
Right.
So I think that King is a perfectly, one of 3. And we talked about Gilbert. We'll talk about another in a second. But I think King is, one of the obvious pitchers, honestly. And then I'm not going to play. I really feel like playing Logan Allen against San Diego. But I'm not getting to any of the hitting this game though. So for me, definitely Michael King and press on.
Yeah, and I just want to throw out that the only issue I have with King is that Cleveland, as we know, does not strike out against righties. Yeah. They only strike out against lefties. Just a reminder. All right, so we're going to have to figure the stadium out. This is another thing that we are going to see probably overreactions or correctly overreactions, but it's still, look, it's a minor league park. It does. It shouldn't necessarily be the best hitter's park in baseball. It certainly looked like it for the Cubs last night. So I'm interested in speculating and being overweight the A's park in general. But Justin Steele is too good to overlook. So I am going to, he's going to be my second highest owned pitcher right now on DraftKings. I also have interest in contrarian both A's and especially the Cubs stacks I like better. But I think both sides of this, I could see arguing for some of the hitting and then for Steele. I'm not getting to a ton of it, but you can see I did put the Swanson and Horner with the torpedo bets, which is giving me a little bit of Cubs stack exposure, and definitely interested in some Steele. And I don't hate getting different with maybe an A's 3-man today. I don't think you need to go for a 5-man against Steele, but a 3-man makes some sense to me.
All right, so I have a couple of opinions here. First of all, yeah, as you touched on, Justin Steele is the other very logical pitcher. I mentioned King, and there was Gilbert. We'll get to and we already talked about Burns, who has a matchup issue, and Sale. We'll get to in a minute. But obviously, Steele is very, very logical. Good pitcher, good strikeouts against the team that could strike out. Whatever. Park is what it is, right? We'll see. I am also getting to the Cubs, like fourth or fifth best stack on DraftKings and second best stack on FanDuel. But I will say, again, if you guys know me, you give me a team that scores 20 runs, I'm 100% playing the pitcher against them the next game. So I'm not saying that I'm like prioritizing Luis Severino here, but I will say this, that if you look at the price tags, and that if I need to late swap something and I have Justin Steele, I will more than willing to go to Severino at the same price if I need to do that. It's just something I always just like to do, to play against teams that scored just a ton of runs like that. So, but certainly nothing wrong with playing the Cubs. They rate out really well anyway. The park could be great anyway. And so for me, definitely Cubs, definitely Steele, and possibly some Severino as some pretty big leverage, actually.
I don't mind Severino as the tournament play. And it's actually not the Cubs are tough, but no one's going to play him. And I think that, not just the fact they scored 1 million runs, that he can be good. We know that, you know what I mean? Like, he has good stuff. Also, we would nice to get our A's a win tonight. So
yeah, that would be nice, wouldn't it?
And maybe that's what are they right now? What are they in this game? They're probably like only plus 114, huh? Thought it'd be higher. All right. Well, the Dodgers, they're not going to be underdogs in there much this year, and today is no different. They are not underdogs, but usually you see Chris Sale and Dustin May, and you would assume that they would be. I think his projection might be a little bit low on. I'm a big Dustin May guy. The Braves have been the worst offense in baseball so far this season. Very small sample size, obviously. They had gone, I think they ended up getting up to 28 innings without scoring a run, something like that. And before that home run last night in the 7th or 8th. So look, I'm going to end up below the field on Sale. I don't know exactly. I'm not going to cross him out because I don't feel great about a lot of other pitchers, and he's not expensive. But it is, I don't know. You see Sale around 20 some odd % against the Dodgers. I just don't want to play pitchers against the Dodgers as much as I can possibly help it. Lefties, righties, doesn't matter. Lefties, I guess you'd prefer, but it's tough. This is a tough team. So I actually have a little more interest in Dustin May than the field does, as another one of those get different pitchers. And if you're not going to play the May angle, I don't mind getting to a little bit of the Braves, which Sabersim is going to try to give you. And I also don't mind getting to some of the Dodgers. I just haven't gotten to that tweaking yet, but I don't think I want the 5-man Dodgers. I think I'd rather take like a 3-man stack or something like that against Sale. Just he's a little too good for me just to try and 5-man stack against him.
Yeah, I have Sale as the third best pitcher today on DraftKings and FanDuel. Yes, tough matchup to say the least, but he just has all this strikeout upside, and considering what we've already talked about on this slate, that's something we have just not discussed yet. I mean, like, there's been no pitcher that we're like totally super scared about their strikeouts. And Sales could get 11 strikeouts and give up 5 runs in this game. You know what I mean? Like he could legitimately get like 4 strikeouts on Ohtani. You know what I mean? Like and still give up 5 runs. I think on this slate, I think he's got to be part of your pool. Let's put it that way. Regardless of the matchup. And I am not, again, until further notice, I just can't play Dodgers yet. I will, but not.
You keep saying you can't play them yet. Now, what's the logic in that one?
No, I mean, like whenever I run these things, I guess the guys I want to play are just
yeah, they just don't want you to.
Yeah, and I don't mind. I mean, it's just remember, like, you have these teams putting up these numbers. Like it's not even enough for the Dodgers to put up those 8-9 runs if it's gonna carry 25,000 plus worth of salary. Anyway, today it's gonna be some sale. And I'm not getting Justin May right now, but we'll see how the projections kind of change. And I'm probably going to be off of both bats.
Yeah. Just to play just a quick point about the things that I always like to try to remind people of is, and partly why I like the Royals, and we talked about them being a good DFS team. The Dodgers, the thing they have going really for them too. One, every game they play is everybody else's best shot that it feels like a playoff game. So you sort of get the best effort, which means more stolen bases than you would think. They've run more they'll run more than I think we would just think they would off the top of our heads. They play, they're competing every night, and they have the most power. Outside of maybe the Yankees. Well, I don't think the Yankees is going to translate to the whole season like this, but I always look for teams and how they score runs, and I prefer the way the Dodgers, Royals score runs than the Indians, for example. You know what I mean? With the singles and the doubles and whatnot.
Listen, I know this can get carried away though, but I mean, if the Dodgers are projecting to win like 115 games or whatever it is, why would they want to just steal all the time? I don't know.
No, they're playing to compete because especially at home, like, I mean, everything is you're getting everybody's best effort. Everywhere on the road, you're going to hear beat LA and more boos than you've ever heard for regular season baseball games because the way people are perceiving them. And I think that they just have a bunch of guys who are like, I mean, Mookie was the best player in baseball. Then Freddie at one point was the best player in baseball. Shohei is the best player in baseball. And on top of it, all these other, then you've got the scrappy, the Edmund types. The bottom of their lineup is loaded. I mean, Max Muncy's batting 7th. You know what I mean? Like, it's a really just good and competitive team. And I feel like whatever the atmosphere there, the way that my perception is, and from everybody I know who's gone to the games, that it's almost like the postseason never ended. It's like they're acting, and now the fact that they're 6-0 to start the year, everybody doesn't want them to ever lose. So I just feel like there's a little bit more. There's like hunger, which you don't usually see so much from a baseball team that just won the World Series, and that's what they seem like to me anyway. I mean, the fact that Mookie played after losing 25 pounds in 2.5 weeks is kind of incredible. Like the fact that he's even playing. Let
me ask you. So I'll give you guys you pause. This is like a pause the video, kind of like a chess quiz. So I'm running my own projections, and I'm running my sims, and I'm running whatever. And I'm curious what people think. Like, am I going to get 100% Detroit? You know what I mean? Is Saberson going to be in that mood like all season? Where it just stacks against the best pitcher or not? That's going to be a good question.
I think less so tonight because you have more teams. But my guess is you're going to end up with Indians, and I think you're going to end up. It's a good question, actually. Let me just see real quick what your projections say. I think you're going to end up with Indians and probably some Cubs and maybe Diamondbacks.
So let's talk about 2 things. One, with the Sims, as you mentioned, my highest owned would be Cleveland. Then actually Atlanta.
Okay.
Seattle, and then obviously Detroit. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then the Dodgers, actually. So I guess you can get to them.
Oh, hey.
If you do not, again, this is what I like to think about. When you don't use the Sims, I would be getting, again, it's hard. I don't know why I can't scroll down on this Saber score. I'm just a bad drop-down guy. I don't know what to say. Mm-hmm. I literally couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
Let's do the drop down. I gotta figure this out. Okay, there it is. Okay, so without simming, it's actually 30. Yeah, this is wow, 36% Yankees, then 25% Dodgers, and 22% the aforementioned Kansas City Royals. So what I'm actually gathering from this is that you can get to the Dodgers.
I keep making this point every day. I think it's a very huge misconception that to spend up for bats, that you have to pay for pitching, that you have to pay down for pitching. I think there's always a very easy way to do it because you have teams that are so cheap, especially this early in the year. But also, I just keep pointing out the Dodgers have cheap bats. I mean, Kike Hernandez is 3,200. He had a home run last night. With no Freddie Freeman, that opens up another spot for a cheaper bat. Now, obviously, it makes the lineup a little bit worse, but they are not like. You have Pajes at 2,800, Rojas at 2,300, Kike Hernandez at 3,200, Muncie's only 4,300, Will Smith's only 4,200. They are not the prices that they could be. I mean, we were paying Mookie was 6,500 last year, Shohei was 7K, Teoscar Hernandez got up to 6K, Will Smith was 5,500 at one point last year. So they're cheaper than they're going to be later on, and you have some nice cheap other individual plays that you can throw in with them. I mean. Hey, your guy, I played him the first couple of days because the Gavin Sheets play. Gavin Sheets had he didn't even hit a home run, but he was like 3 for 3 with 2 walks and 5 runs scored and 4 RBIs, and he had like 38 fantasy points yesterday, and like literally nobody would even think of playing him. You know what I mean?
So my top owned pitchers right now, well, Logan Gilbert, I would be getting a crisp 3.2% of.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, why? Because it makes sense. Because of course I need 20.6% of Thomas Harrington. Do we even know who he is?
I feel like you just made that up.
I did make it up. Oh, he plays for the Pirates apparently.
Oh, Thomas Harrington. Oh, okay.
You're like, oh yeah, Thomas Harrington. We're both Googling him at the same time.
I actually literally don't. I somehow I passed over that one today and did not even do research on it. This is going to happen to me early in the MLB. And for guys out there, we're going to say like, oh my God, you don't even know the player. You know how hard it is to know all the MLB players by the first week of the season. It's almost impossible.
Listen, I know Dan Harrington. I know Patrick Harrington. Maybe I'll know Thomas Harrington.
They're cousins.
Yep. And then Michael King, and then of course fourth highest owned. Why wouldn't it be Will Warren? And then and the aforementioned Kyle Hendricks. So yeah, baseball is back, boys.
Yep, let's go. And just for what it's worth, I just showed my FanDuel exposure. Like I got a lot more Seattle, Yankees, KC, and then I look. You can see my capping of Cleveland because this is going to happen all year. And by the way, the other thing I hate about playing Cleveland is you have at least 3 guys who, going back based on last year, Cleveland and Minnesota, you'll have at least 3 guys usually pinch hitting at some point or another. And it's just so frustrating when you're right there and you need that last single or double or whatever it is. And your 2 guys are pinch hit for because they're both lefties and they get pinch hit for a righty because the lefty comes in or something. Just wanted to throw that out there. Anyway, it should be a fun slate. We'll be back, and we've got golf. We'll do. Are you able to do golf tomorrow? Or
yeah, tomorrow I'll do golf for Thursday. It's not till Thursday, right?
Yeah. I just want to make sure that tomorrow was good.
Yeah,
because we'll do that. I'm prepping a little bit early for this one, and then we've got the Masters next week, which will be a lot of fun. So a reminder, guys, check out the packages. Again, feel free to do the trial. We're letting people do multiples only because we added some new stuff.
What's the schedule again? Is it still going to be the same thing as 5:30?
I think 5:30 is the right spot for us.
Okay.
But again, if it's too tough for you, we can try and work something around it. I don't mind it.
No, don't work around me.
Okay. And if you can't make it, I'm always happy to
doing what's better than whoever. Yeah. So baseball, and then did you do any basketball yesterday or no?
Yeah, I touched on it, and then I actually ended up showing my exposures and did poorly. One of those just completely insanity slates where you had weirdness all over the place for NBA, and that's what happens this time of year.
When does the playoffs start? Soon, right?
I think it's in like 2 weeks. It should be right after the Masters, right? Yeah.
Well, let me just see real quick. Let me see what the standings are, right? So standings. They still play 82 games as far as I'm concerned, right? Yeah, look at this, 75, 76 games. Okay, so we're right there. Now let's see what are the seedings. The Knicks are a 3. Okay.
Yeah.
They're a 3, and they are 9 games out of second. So we're not worried about that. The Celtics are a 2. And they're a full 3.5 ahead of the Pacers for the 3 spot. So it looks as though they're setting up to play the Celtics if they get there. Ooh, that'll be fun.
Well, I don't know. I'm not going to count on them winning the first game. They've been really bad against the Bucks, right? This year.
Yeah,
and Brunson is still not back.
Oof. Yeah, Knicks. It looks like Knicks Bucks first rounds.
Yeah, I would be betting the Bucks all day in that one.
And
but
then
the Bucks may not have Lillard too.
And the Lakers. Oh, they're battling for a 3. So, see, if I'm the Lakers, again, I'm like biased about this. I would rather make that 3 somehow so they could play the Warriors. I don't think they're losing to the Warriors.
I think you're probably right, but the Warriors have actually been like, actually not as much lately, but they have been much better in the second half of the year. The problem is you can't figure it out because like even it may not be the Warriors, it's just as likely to be the Clippers or
the Clippers, right?
They're a half game behind the Warriors.
Now look at all this: the T-Wolves, Clippers, and Warriors.
Yeah, the West is crazy because literally the bottom seed may be the favorite in every series, except for the Oklahoma City one.
I didn't even realize
that the West is loaded and the East is horrible at the bottom.
The Rockets are a 2.
You know of all the teams in the NBA, the Celtics are number 1, the Cavs are number 2, Oklahoma City's number 3. Those are the top 3 teams favored to make the second round. After that, it's the Lakers, and then I think it's the Clippers. Something crazy like that. And the Clippers right now are in the play-in.
They're an 8, yeah.
It's crazy, but it just doesn't. Maybe they're slightly behind Denver, but it's pretty close. It's really, really close between all those teams.
Well, I'll tell you this: if it holds, and the Lakers are the 4, and they get out of the first round, that Lakers Thunder is like legit. That's a series, man. That might save the NBA TV ratings. That's a good one.
I already fear it because I know what happens. I'm a huge Laker fan, obviously, but like I'm very well aware that we will get the benefit of calls when they need to happen sometimes.
You got the 2 biggest stars in the NBA. I mean, like it'll be fun, man. You get the upstart Thunders, and there'll be people actually watching that. It's impossible to believe that even though he's going to win the MVP, like probably 30% of the NBA doesn't even know who he is. Shea Gilgeous, yeah. 40% of the people watching those games would not know who he is.
Well, I hope he gets the exposure he deserves because the guy is awesome. But I am a little worried. People are like, "Oh, the Lakers' size is going to mess with him," and all this. I'm like, that team is so good and so deep. All they're going to do is play at their 10 times speed the whole time against the Lakers and try to run them out of the building. And I think that they're going to be able to do it. So,
Hawks, Magic, neither of those teams exist. Heat, Bulls, they don't exist. I'm just trying to think if anybody can. So you're telling me the Clippers are live from the 8, huh?
I think. Well, I mean, they could end up being the 5 for all we know, or 4.
Mavericks are live to make the play-in, huh? That's amazing.
Play-in, yeah, but like it's pretty wild how it turned out.
And then if they win, and then if they somehow make the play-in, they get the benefit of playing the Thunder probably. So.
But if they get in, that's right. But man, but by the way, if they're healthy by then, they're getting close. That it's not like that's the 3 7-footers with.
I'll tell you that would definitely be like the ultimate revenge, like for that GM.
But you know what? I honestly think even if they win the title, he'll never get revenge. That's how big I think it is because you just can't trade a team. Nobody else means more to their team. Like Shea doesn't mean as much. I mean, he means as much in real basketball, but like he doesn't mean as much to the city of Oklahoma City as Luka does to the Mavs. You know,
right.
I just don't think you get over things like that. But we'll see. Anyway, all right, it should be a lot of fun. We'll be live at 5:30 Eastern, or I'll be live at least, and I probably
I'll be there. I should be there. We'll see.
Okay. All right, man. Have a good day. Good luck, everybody, and I'll post my content in a little bit.